Hello, welcome to this episode of Untitled Geography. Today we're looking at the Urban Issues and Challenges section, and it's about the city of Stoke-on-Trent. We're looking particularly at the extended questions, so 6 and 9 marks. The topic today is looking at the introduction, which is a population distribution of the UK. So how is the population in the UK spread out? So we have the question here, which is using figure 1 and 2, describe the population distribution across the UK and explain reasons for this. So before we get into this, we're going to look at the two maps, figures 1 and figure 2. Figure 1 is what's called a relief map. It shows the height of the land, the shape of the land, and you've also got a key there to show what the different colours mean. Figure 2, that is a population distribution map. It shows where the people live, and you can see the key there, the darker colours, so the browns there. Over 150 people live on average in each square kilometre, and of course you can see the lighter colours, the lighter yellow, under 10 people, so that's sparsely populated, under 10 people per square kilometre. Some of the cities are also identified on there as well. As we pause there, you can also see that where there's an area of dense population, the area is quite low and flat. Also, where there's areas of sparse population, the areas are quite high. So we'll identify those on the screen now. So the sparse population is there, and there's a set of mountains there. Sparse population here, set of mountains there. Sparse population here, and a set of mountains there. So this will help us to answer the question, so figures 1 and figure 2. Of course we've got the word describe, and that just says what's going on, and the explain is giving reasons for it. Here we've got the question, and the question, as ever, it's really good to annotate the question to see what the question is actually asking. So using figure 1 and 2, describe the population distribution across the UK and explain the reasons for this. So figure 1 and 2, you've got to refer to those figures, and of course use data, use place names where you can. Describe, let's just say what it's like. The population distribution, that's the population spread, about where people live, and maybe using geography words like sparsely, so not many people live there, maybe densely, so lots of people live there. It's across the UK as well, so don't just talk about England, we're talking about the 4 countries of the UK, so talking about Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales and England. And finally, make sure that you're using the explain. This is because, as a result, this means that, this is due to. There's actually 2 parts to this question, the describe bit, what's going on, and the explain bit, which is why, what's going on, why is that happening. On the screen here we've got the multi-tool structure. If you're in any doubt at any point about the command words, so discuss, assess, evaluate, to what extent, all those kind of extended command words, if in doubt use the multi-tool structure, which is in the yellow box here. You've got the introduction, so name the place. Also, number 2, you've got the positives, so what's going on, make a mini decision, so words like this is significant, this is important, this is effective, this is successful. They don't all fit in every question, but those are your decision words. And where it applies, give some negatives as well, and also number 4, write a conclusion. As we talk about in class lots, we've got assessment objectives, so AO1, AO2, AO3. AO1 is knowing good geography, so the knowledge, data, geography terms, place names, examples. AO2, which is the understanding, so you show you understand it through explaining things, so using phrases like this means that, this results in, a knock-on effect of this is due to. And of course AO3, as we talked about on the previous slide, decision words, conclusion words. So this is significant, this is effective, this was successful, this is important. Those are decision words to put into your conclusion. We've got the mark scheme here. In many ways, mark schemes can be difficult to interpret. As a person who marks things lots, who reads exam questions, it can be pretty clear what's a level 1, level 2, level 3. So level 1 is basic understanding, so you kind of know what's going on, but there's no detail there. Level 2 is a clear understanding, you definitely know what's going on, and there's some detail there, it's quite nice. Level 3, and that's pretty close to what you would read in a textbook. There's data, examples, geography words, it all links together. The spelling is good, the grammar is good also. Here we've got a sample answer, so we're going to read through the sample answer and then start to pull some things out. Of course yours might look a little bit different depending which areas you've chosen, which pieces of data you've chosen, which cities you've chosen, but the themes will remain the same as you'll see. Using figure 1 and 2, it's clear to see the population in the UK is not evenly distributed. You can also see a clear correlation between relief of the land and population. Some areas such as the Grampian Mountains in the northwest of Scotland and the Cambrian Mountains in mid Wales, where Snowdon is 1,085 metres high, they're sparsely distributed, with a population density of less than 10 people per kilometre square. This is because it's difficult to build in mountain areas due to the shape of the land, and the areas are not as accessible. Parts of the southeast of England in areas such as London are densely populated, with a population density being over 150 people per kilometre square. This is because the area is flat. This is important as it's easy to build on. London also has good accessibility and links to other places in Europe. This is significant to the economic benefits such as trade across Europe. In conclusion, the UK's population is not evenly distributed. The most significant influence on the distribution of the population is the relief of the land. Flat land is easier to build on and it's more densely populated. Now, when you've done your own answer, possibly before or after you've seen the example answer here, I'd like to go through and pick out the assessment objectives AO1, AO2, AO3. AO1 is the stuff, the data, geography, place names and geography words. Number 2 is the explanation, so this means that, this is due to, this is because. And of course you've got AO3, words like important, significant. So you can see here, we've picked out the AOs on the sample answer. You do that in your own work. If you have highlighters, use the same colours here. If you don't, just write AO1, AO2, AO3 each time you see those assessment objectives.